All right, everybody. This is Mr. Kiernan here. I'm here to give you your brief video on the judicial branch of our government, just in the same way that our country has a dual court system, meaning there are two types of courts. In this video, you'll be hearing about one type of court from me, and then another type of court from Mr. Joseph over here. Say hi, Joseph.
Hi.
All right. So the judicial branch of our government, their job is to interpret the law, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Good answer. So we have a dual court system, which means that there is a federal court system and then a state court system. A state court system obviously deals with state laws. The federal court system deals with federal laws. The highest court in the country, as we know, is the Supreme Court. Their main power is the power of judicial review. Judicial review means the ability to look at an action or a law and determine whether or not it is allowed by the Constitution. This power comes from the landmark Supreme Court case Marbury versus Madison, and we talked about how this is the supreme power of the Supreme Court. So whether it be an action taken by the president, a law passed by Congress, a policy passed by the state, if there's ever a question about whether or not something is permitted by the Constitution, the Supreme Court is the highest and the last step in making that decision. So that's the Supreme Court. But the dual court system, as we learned, is much more than just one court, the Supreme Court. There are two types of courts, and we talked about it being like a ladder. On one side of the ladder are the district federal courts. On the other side of the ladder is the state courts. The bottom level court is a trial. When your case is heard at a trial, there's a judge, there's a jury, and they're determining your guilt. On the other side of the trial, if you want to have your case heard again, you can request that it takes place at an appeals court. That's the second level, so you move up one part of the ladder to the appeal. In a state court, there's a state Supreme Court, but then there's also a U.S. Supreme Court, which we just discussed. When it comes to the federal judiciary, the president will choose and select the judges or justices when we're talking about the Supreme Court. And those people are chosen by the president, right, Joseph? Mm-hmm. And then, Joseph, who has to approve them?
Donald Trump.
No. The person who has to approve them or the group is the Senate. They vote on in order to approve whether or not this person gets the job on the federal judiciary.
Yay.
All right, so that's it. That's all there is for the judicial branch. Their job is to interpret the law. Remember Marbury versus Madison. Remember judicial review. And then, of course, remember the court system. It goes trial, appeal, supreme. Trial, appeal, supreme. You got anything more to say, Joe?
Bye.
Also, bye.